Hey everybody, Starting here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Super Dodgeball, grabbing the Dominating the League achievement. This is to beat the game on normal in under 15 minutes. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you start up the game, make sure you play in World Cup Play, which is the single player mode. Keep the difficulty on normal and make sure you use the default lineup, which is Sam, John, and Mike. We will be using the same strategy for every single match, which is to pretty much get the ball in Sam's hands, who should be your front court. He should pretty much get the ball by default most of the time, but he basically looks like this. Basically, he's the first person who gets the ball during a game, and you just want to stick with him, and we are just going to abuse the power shot for the entire game. So to do the power shot, what you want to do is you want to make sure you back up to about half court. You want to double tap forward in order to start running, and then between the 4th and 7th step of your dash, what you have to do is you have to make sure you hold the A button. If you manage to time it right, you should do a really powerful shot, which you can control the direction of, and you can pretty much hit all 3 people and do massive damage in only one shot. Also, if you did it right, your back court should catch it, and you can basically just pass the ball back to your attackers, and you can just keep up this strategy for the entire game. So combining this with the in-game save system pretty much allows you to just spam power shots. If you do mess up the shot, you can just back up your save and then just load from a previous save and just play a game where you are landing nothing but power shots. So just make sure you keep up this pattern. Once again, it requires a little bit of practice in getting the timing down, but once you get it down, you should be able to knock it off quite consistently. The US NES version is way easier than the Japanese Famicom version, because on that version, to do your power shot, you have to hold the button exactly on the 7th step. With this version, you can do it anywhere between 4 and 7. That being said, the entire game should be a breeze with the exception of a few matches. The first notable one is going to be against India. The reason for that is the Indian team has a very high defense rating, so it's going to take a bunch of power shots in order to knock them out. As you can see, the power shot is going to do the same damage as a high level normal shot, so you are just going to have to do more power shots in order to eliminate them. You want to spend the bulk of your run on India, basically, because they can take so much damage, so this is going to be the real time sink towards the timer. But 15 minutes should be more than enough time, especially using the save system where you can just keep reloading the save in order to get the correct shot off that you need. So personally, for my run, it took me about 10.5 minutes to go through normal. The world record, I believe, is about 6 minutes 15. So you do have quite a bit of headroom with the 15-minute timer. So you shouldn't worry too much about getting everything perfect. Although you do have a lot of leeway thanks to that save system, because you can just save and make sure you load up in case you do throw a bad shot. The only difference between the 3 difficulties is how often the AI catches the ball, so if you get a run where they are catching the ball quite frequently, you might want to also abuse the save system, so keep those few things in mind. So, if you manage to trudge through the India match, the hardest part being the captain, who is Swami, who has the highest defense rating in the game. As you can see, a power shot is only going to do 1 damage to him, so you're just going to have to keep landing consistent power shots in order to take him out. Once you wrap that up, we are going to move on to Game 4, which is against Iceland. This is going to be the first stage variety. As you can see, you are playing on an icy field, so your steps are going to be a little more slippery. The timing should be the same, at least on the American version, because you are working with that 4 to 7 range. This is going to be way harder in the Japanese version, but as you can see right here, the Iceland group does like to group up in big bunches, so if you can get a good small arc shot, you should be able to knock them out really quickly. Once you manage to take out Iceland, we are on to Game 5, which is going to be against China. China doesn't have any stage hazards, so you don't really have to worry about your shot selection. The thing with the Chinese team is they have the best catch rating in the game, so if you are playing on the higher difficulties, you will notice them try to catch your shots a lot. But once again, thanks to the save system, we are able to manipulate it in a way where we can just load from a save. Once you manage to take care of China, it is going to be on to game number 6, which is my least favorite game to play, which is going to be against Kenya. The reason for that is Kenya is going to play on a sandy level, which means your steps are going to be a lot shorter, and it's going to take longer for you to build up your speed for your dash. Keep in mind, the step count is going to be the same, so you have to make sure you get the shot off between steps 4 and 7. It's just the timing is going to be different since you are going to cover less distance with your steps because of the sand. So this stage is going to probably take the most amount of practice in order to adjust your shot, as well as the most loads from saves you made in case you made any mistakes. Luckily, Kenya does have a pretty weak team, and you are able to shred them apart once you manage to get the timing on the power shot down. As you can see here, they get eliminated rather quickly, so this shouldn't eat up too much time. It's just going to take a while to adjust your timing. But once you take care of them, it is on to Game 7, which is the semifinals against Japan. Thankfully, Japan doesn't have any major gimmicks to deal with. It's a pretty much straightforward match, so just make sure you get your power shots off. Try to get them in big clusters and try to knock them out all at once, and you should be able to get this done in a few seconds. So with that in mind, just keep abusing that power shot. Hopefully by now you are able to get the timing down right, and you can practice stuff like your arc. So as you can see here, you can use this thing to take out all three in one shot once you get really good at getting the timing down. And just remember to get the ball with your backcourt and just pass it back to your attackers and just keep lining up shots and keep knocking them down. Once you finally take care of Japan, it is on to game number 8, aka the finals against the USSR. So the Russians are going to have pretty high health as their gimmick, but once again, high health doesn't do much without high defense. So just land a bunch of power shots, make sure you are arcing them in a way where you can hit all of them in one shot, and they should go down also in a matter of a few seconds. So this one isn't too bad, especially if you're playing on normal difficulty. They do get a little harder on hard because of that catch rating, but once again, with enough patience and utilizing the super cheap power shot in combination with the save system, you should be able to knock this down rather quickly, and we should be more than good enough for making the 15-minute time limit. So once you manage to take out the Russians, you are going to challenge the post-tournament team, which is Team Shadow. Team Shadow is going to be a mirror match against yourself, with the exception of them having better shooting and stamina stats. With that in mind, they are vulnerable to this strategy just like the other teams, but they are pretty tough since this is the last game boss. But thanks to super cheap power shot combined with the save system, they go down just like any other team. So just make sure you keep that up. Thankfully, our team has very low health stats, so they are going to mirror this as well because they are also going to have pretty low health. So that means less shots to finish them off, and the quicker you do that, the quicker we can be on our way to the achievement. So once you finally knock them out, if you manage to squeeze by under the 15-minute time limit, you are going to get your congratulations and the credits, but more importantly, the achievement. There it is, 100 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.